People who struggle in relationships have an immature inner child. Characteristics of the immature inner child. When it comes to relationships, the kind of people who struggle with them often have an immature inner child. In your relationships, if you have a particularly impatient personality, unstable emotions, and a tendency to be heavily dependent on others, fearing abandonment and rejection, and always wanting more love, more money, and getting upset, resentful, and distressed when you don't get them, it indicates that your psychological maturity is stuck at a childlike stage. Remaining in a childlike stage is evident in how you approach things, being very hurried without a thoughtful process, lacking a sense of time and long-term vision. Your perception of an issue gets fixated on the outcome, simply wanting to attain the result without considering the bigger picture. When you can't achieve what you want, you feel mistreated by others and that you have bad luck, believing you can't find a good partner. On the surface, it seems you are constantly seeking true love, but in reality, you don't really know what you truly want. You just want what others have. Psychological development and regression. Fundamentally, your inner self is empty and numb, lacking self-awareness, as if your psychological age is stuck at 7 or 8 years old. Psychology indicates that if a person experiences severe trauma and setbacks during a certain stage of their development, their psychological age can become fixed at that point, stunting their growth. When the outer age keeps growing but the inner self does not, we call this the inner child. This inner child will resurface when you encounter similar situations in adulthood, causing you to regress to the mentality of a 6 or 7-year-old in handling your 20s or 30s problems. In psychology, this is known as regression. For example, an adult may normally communicate and solve problems when in a dispute, but a regressed adult may instead have hysterics, get angry, throw things, or give the silent treatment, behaviors stemming from their childhood responses to similar issues. So if your inner child hasn't matured, this childlike inner self is likely the root cause of your problematic romantic relationships. It subconsciously makes you lack a sense of security, becoming clingy and needy in relationships, always seeking attention, recognition, and praise like a child. Fundamentally, it's because your psychological age is still stuck in childhood, and your fragile inner child can only derive a sense of existence and worth from external validation. At this stage, you lack a sense of self-responsibility and the ability to self-improve. Over time, this fragile inner child can evolve into irrationality and immaturity in your personality. But don't be afraid, because as soon as you become aware of your inner child and set your life goals, your growth can accelerate remarkably. Overcoming the inner child. So if you find yourself in this stage, my advice is to reparent your inner child. How? Psychology says, seeing is healing. First, see and accept the former self you once were, because all external problems are just surface phenomena. You can only solve the root of your suffering by stepping out of the problem itself and considering it from the perspective of your inner needs. For example, if you constantly feel anguish, insecure, or overly sensitive and suspicious in relationships, you need to honestly face your emotions and ask yourself what your true needs are, why you develop such feelings, and what childhood traumas they evoke. Identify the deficient parts within you, then nurture and fulfill the needs of your inner child as you would a real child. Because as long as those deprived parts inside you remain unfulfilled, you'll never fully resolve your real-life problems. Blaming others for not meeting your needs is just your own issue. Switching partners won't help, as what you ultimately need to change is yourself to elevate your own state of being. Many people compulsively repeat unhealthy relationships, not because they are masochistic, but because they haven't recognized their inner child. Even if they desperately try various methods, they can't change the situation because the core within hasn't changed. This will keep them trapped in persistent suffering. If you enjoyed this series, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Your free likes are the greatest encouragement for me. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next video.